attitude is?
Having a right attitude is probably, I would say, 50%. You know, it goes with ability. If you don't have a right attitude, but you've got feet like Ronaldo, you're not going to go very far off the back of your talent. You know, it's something that builds you as a character. So someone will come along and see you and see that you're a good player and see that you've got your head screwed on right. You know, if you're just looking like you're not really respecting what football is or where you want to go, then I think you won't go as far as you could, because you're lacking the attitude.
Yeah, very, very important. Let's talk about, we're going back a little bit, especially Harrow, because obviously you played a lot of local football. The teams that you played for in non-league were close, but Harrow was a little bit of a journey for you. Explain that sort of journey, what you had to do to get there.
When obviously pre-season you gave me the opportunity to go there, I never even knew where Harrow was. And then when I found out, I saw that it was on the complete other side of London. You know, it's northwest London. I lived at the time in East London, so it was.
You didn't drive?
No, of course. I was just coming out of college. I was getting on the train, and even it did cost a lot to go there for one day. It was like costing me probably the money and expenses that I was getting from the club was just about enough, if you know what I mean. Like, you know, I'd have to get on the train for an hour and a half from North Woolwich. Not many people will know where it is, but from North Woolwich to Stratford and change onto the Central Line all the way to Norfolk, and then from there you still have to do a 20-minute walk. So, you know, I didn't see it as a big deal. I mean, maybe the first time I went there and I saw how long it was taking, and I thought, you know, this is a bit much. But then I went there and I saw what I was going into, and I saw that the sacrifice is not even, it's not even 5% of what's going to come out of this. I think that the journey I was taking wasn't the worst. You know, anywhere, if you really want to go play football, anywhere is fine. You know, it could be on the other side of London, it could be outside of London. You know, there's a lot of Essex clubs that are quite good. You know, you can get there on the train if you have to. You know, I personally did it. Even before I went to Harrow, when I was 15 years old in school, I was getting on the train on Saturday mornings to go to Brentwood Town. And obviously at 15, that's very, very far. And I'd have to go from North Woolwich again to Stratford and then out to Brentwood. And I wasn't playing at the time. I was going there and I wasn't getting picked to play on the Sunday. So I was going every Saturday, trying my best to get there. And it was working for me. You know, I was playing with the players who wasn't getting picked for the first team of obviously the youth team. But I never can say that I didn't see it as a hindrance that I wasn't playing. But I still felt like I'm doing something different, that the local players that don't want to travel, that don't want to try and put the effort in, I'm getting to do what they're not doing. I'm playing outside of my comfort zone. So then when I went to Harrow, I had that experience already. That, you know, journeys, as long as it may seem, it's not the worst thing. Yeah, of course. As long as you really want to do it, you can definitely do it. You know, sitting on the train for an hour and a half before you go to football is not the worst thing. And then obviously from there, sometimes I'd go from home to university to Harrow, and then home. So really, all in all, that's maybe a 4 or 5 hour journey on the train, not including training times or lectures or lessons at university. So, you know, it was good. It was actually a very good experience to learn, because you don't, going from your house to a local team, you don't get the same experience. You don't get the same feeling of, I've put this effort in, now let me, make sure that what I'm doing here gets what I want, which for me was scoring goals. And I went there with the attitude of, I've travelled this far, now I'm going to convert it to, it's worth the journey sort of thing. It doesn't feel like I'm wasting my time because I can't be bothered.
Yeah, that is key. And also, let's talk about, a night before a game, because there's a lot of players that will go out with their mates and stuff like that on a Friday night before a Saturday. What would you say about that?
For me, I never saw it as a choice. For me, it wasn't. Fridays were always go to bed early to be fresh for the morning. You know, it doesn't seem like, for me, it didn't seem like, at the time, like there was an option, because I wanted to play football. If I'd have maybe, felt like perhaps I don't want to play football, or perhaps I don't want to put all my effort into this, or perhaps I just want to take the position for granted that I'm playing a certain level in non-league, then maybe I would have been not so much weak enough in my mind, but maybe I would have took a more relaxed opinion towards what I do the night before a game. But I think that the best thing I got out of learning to do the right thing was that it is the right thing to do,
Yeah, make the sacrifice.
Yeah, exactly.
If it's something you really want,
then
you've got to make the sacrifice.
Because if you don't make the sacrifices, you don't get the rewards. So I think that going out on a Friday was never there for me to choose at all.
Okay, great. And QPR, how important having attitude at a professional football club is it? Because that's a fundamental part now, I think, which they're talking about. Ability is just second to attitude.
Yeah, I think it is. Like I said, it is a big part of being a footballer, professional, non-league, youth team, any kind of level. It is a big deal. You know, at QPR, everyone's a professional. So it's just like being a businessman. You keep a certain level of professionalism. You don't drop below that level because it's just, you know, it's not what you do. Well, obviously for me, I see as I've come into a professional club that this is the standard I need to keep at. So, you know, I would never take it for granted, sort of thing. So I think attitude in QPR is a big deal. Yeah, I'd probably be right to say that in all professional clubs, there's a certain level of professionalism that you need. You can't go in there with the wrong attitude of thinking, you know, I'm big time, or thinking I really don't care about this, or, you know.
Or I've made it because in a split second.
Everything can change, exactly, and that's exactly what, you know, I'm not saying it will happen, but it could happen if your attitude is not right. Who cares if you can put the ball in the top corner every single time you get it? If you can't communicate with other people or treat people with the correct, like, you know, the correct attitude, the right respect. If you don't respect people around you, they won't respect you, and people do pick up on that, especially coaches, because coaches have a lot of experience in different players. They see thousands of players a year, and if you have the ability and you have the correct attitude, you do stand out more than the person who's got the ability and has that attitude that perhaps...
They don't care.
Yeah, and it does make a big difference.
Yeah. Well, you know, they always talk about attitude, and I don't think a lot of players understand how important attitude is, because I think, you know, as you are, you know, you're a professional, and, you know, you see a lot of people that come in and think, okay, I'm going to make it, I'm fine, there's no problem whatsoever, I'll do what I want. But that's not the attitude professional clubs want, is it?
No, of course not. They want you to be a professional. You know, if you applied for a job, you wouldn't go into the interview thinking, oh, I'm going to do it anyway, I'm going to get the job. You'd go in there with, you know, everything presentable, everything ready to be a professional. So yeah,